What is up, Dynasty fam? We are back talking some waiver wire stashes, some players to add or stash on your Dynasty rosters before week one starts. So we have a couple of days now till the season. Going to get you some names. These are deeper names under 50% rostered. So some of them may sound a little ugly, but you might hear a few that you can maybe stash if you have some bench space and see if we take a couple of shots and see if we hit something. So player number 13. Going to get it started off with going to be MVS, Marquez Valdez Scantling, 27% roster right now. So this is really like most of these are just dart throws, and MVS could even be just a dart throw even for week one, see what happens. But he's on the Niners practice squad right now. But he could possibly be thrown into week one. We'll see. His competition right now is basically Sky Moore. You know, you have Jacob Cowing now on IR, as well as Watkins and injured. And then Demarcus Robinson also going to be suspended a few games. So I also like Demarcus Robinson when he comes back, but he's serving a 3-game suspension right now. So you have the drama going on right now with Jawan Jennings. So no one really there at wide receiver. Maybe you can take a shot on MVS for week one. Now at player number 12, we have Hunter Renfro coming back now with the Panthers. They waived. He had a good preseason. Thought he was going to get added. They waived him, but then they moved on from Adam Thielen back to Minnesota Vikings, and they bring Hunter Renfro in now, only 15% rostered. And like I said, now that Thielen is gone, and then you have Jalen Coker, who we were liking heading into the season, but now looks like he's going to be out for a few weeks. So right there, you have Hunter Renfro going to be now in the slot, possibly there with Bryce Young, could have some opportunity early on in the season. Now you have at player number 11, we have Tyler Conklin. So if you're playing, we have 2 tight ends in this video. If you're playing like a tight end premium league, I think the next 2 names you may like. I like the next one more, but Tyler Conklin, 40% rostered. I think he's going to be just have some touchdown upside there with Herbert. Not really a high passing offense, but we've seen some tight ends with Herbert just have some success with Gerald Everett, even Donald Parham for a few weeks. So with that Greg Roman at OC, we've even had Mark Andrews, right, had some success. So I think it's just a deep dart throw, right? Tyler Conklin, see what happens in the first few weeks. Maybe you catch something. Now at number 10, I like this one right here, guys. Greg Dulcich. Pretty much he was acquired now by Miami. He's on the practice squad, but Waller, it's just been an interesting story so far. He signed, but he wasn't, just kind of getting back into shape. He hasn't played football since 2023. And really, we're just looking for some upside here at the tight end position. And I think Dulcich can provide that for us and give us some opportunity there in Miami. We just saw Jonnu just come off a big season there in Miami. And if things don't work out with Waller, maybe he's not just ready, or even Dulcich is just better at this point, right? Waller's 32 years old right now. Like I said, hasn't played football since 2023. Got Dulcich only 25 years old. Going into year 4, maybe he can put together a decent season in Miami, see a bump in value. So definitely like Greg Dulcich right there. And also there's even some things going on with Tyreek Hill. We'll see what's going to happen. But Greg Dulcich, good little flyer right now to add before week 1. Now at number 9, we have Elijah Moore. And Elijah Moore, we have the roster percentage, 47% roster, so just under that 50% mark. And really, you have Khalil Shakir kind of dealing with that ankle injury, right? He's been out. I think he just got back to practice on Wednesday. And just betting on the talent, we've seen Moore show some flashes in the past. So week 1, maybe he gets opportunity, make few snaps, maybe he gets a deep shot from Josh Allen. So I'm going to say Elijah Moore is a decent stash for week 1. Let's see what happens. Now at number 8, I'm very surprised that this roster percentage is so low, but you have Jimmy Garoppolo is only 30% rostered. You know, Stafford has been dealing with back issues really the past few seasons, and now this summer he was held out of practice in preseason for many weeks, just started practicing, and now they were saying that he's looking like he's going to play week 1. So just a little bit weird situation. Not really much certainty there. And he's also going into his age 37 season. So I think as the season rolls out, I think Jimmy G is definitely someone that should be more, have a much higher roster percentage, especially in super flex leagues, right? Probably could get a few weeks there from Jimmy G if something happens to Stafford. And you know what? He'll have a good supporting cast and a nice Sean McVay offense. So definitely stash you some Jimmy G in Superflex leagues. Now at 6 and 7, we have a pair of running backs. We have Emmanuel Willson, who is 47% rostered. Chris Brooks, only 10% rostered. Now, Marshawn Lloyd just can't seem to catch a break. He lands on IR. They bring in Chris Brooks. They also have Israel Banakanda, super late dart throw. But you have Chris Brooks and Emmanuel Wilson right now looking like the 2 and 3. And it's just preseason, but we saw Chris Brooks playing over Emmanuel Wilson. And Brooks could be the handcuff to Josh Jacobs if something were to go down. Jacobs just saw 300 plus touches last season. We all know the RB position is very demanding. If Jacobs were to suffer an injury or any setbacks, Brooks may be the handcuff you want. I think they like Wilson more in the receiving game, so Chris Brooks may see some snaps early on. It might see Emmanuel Wilson early on with Jacobs, but if something were to happen with Jacobs, I think we could see some more Chris Brooks in that timeshare. Now at player number 4 and 5, we have another pair of running backs, and really this is kind of with that situation right here with two situations. So first we have Raheem Sanders. So Sanders now signed with the Browns, who have just all sorts of things going on in that backfield. Now we're hearing just recently that Judkins is set to sign, but still, even if he comes back, we don't know if the NFL will take action and suspend him for 3 games, 6 games. Who knows what will happen? Or maybe he won't get suspended at all. But this is just a deep dart throw for Raheem Sanders. In that Cleveland Browns backfield, you have Dylan Sampson and Jerome Ford. But I'm just taking a stab at this shaky backfield right now. Seems like a lot of question marks in that backfield. So Raheem Sanders is a decent dart throw in your fantasy leagues. Now, the next one you have Kenny Gainwell, 33% rostered. And Gainwell just looks like he is possibly, I think for these first few weeks, right, Caleb Johnson had a slow start in preseason and training camp, and still working on pass protection, different things like that. So they may lean with some more Gainwell. You know, he just hasn't had really much positive buzz. Caleb Johnson, who I think is a good buy low right now in Dynasty, because I think he's going to start off. He may start off a little bit slow. We may see more Gainwell, or just as a three back committee for the first few weeks until Caleb Johnson gets his feet wet, gets acclimated to the NFL. So I think a sneaky ad for the first few weeks. Gainwell, maybe he falls into the end zone or something, and people overreact. So if you could stash Gainwell, you got some room. He's a decent running back to stash for the first few weeks and see what happens. Now at player number 3, this is probably one of my favorites, just kind of a speculative ad, but you have Isaiah Davis. He is only 45% rostered, and he's banged up right now, but he should be back, I think, for week 1. And the Jets seem to like him, right? He's highly productive in college at South Dakota State. We've been hearing the rumors about committee and how they like Braylon Allen and as well as Isaiah Davis. So we'll see. I don't think Isaiah Davis will get much run early on, but I do think with Breece Hall being in a contract year, if we were to see them move on from Breece Hall, similar to how we saw the Commanders move on from B-Rob, if they like what they see, what they have right now with Allen and Isaiah Davis, and they were to move on from Breece Hall, Isaiah Davis value will definitely skyrocket there for Dynasty football. So I think he has a good stash right now in Dynasty leagues, only 46% rostered. Now the last players right here, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. If you like the video, if you got anything out of it, be sure to like and subscribe. And also let me know, guys, in the comments, some players that you are trying to stash heading into week 1, and also just tell me what you think of these players, right? And so the last 2 players we have only 4% and 0% rosters. And I think these guys could have an opportunity during the season. We'll see what happens, but we have Jeff Wilson, only 4% rostered, and Jamychal Hasty at 0% rostered. Now, apparently Jalen Wright just had a minor procedure, going to keep him out several weeks is what we're hearing. It does not sound good for him. We know Alexander Madison also is out this season. Definitely like Ollie Gordon, who's going to be the RB2 now with Achane, who's said they're saying that he's going to play week 1, but he's dealing with that calf injury for the past few weeks. And there's just some history there also, and trust with Willson and Hasty as they were with McDaniel in San Francisco. So maybe even if Gordon were to come out, have a little rookie learning curve or a slow start, or Achane is just not ready to go or suffers a setback with his calf, we could see some opportunity. Right now, they're on the practice squad, but we could see them called up as early as week 1 if Achane wasn't ready to go or something was to happen to Achane. We could see Jamychal, Hasty, or Jeff Willson coming out in that backfield for Miami. So that is all I have for you guys today, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what you think about these players, and also if you have any suggestions of any more videos that you would like to see on this channel, drop them in the comments.